Students, this is B.R. Shankar. Now we discuss about adiabatic demagnetization. This method is employed to reach temperatures below 1 Kelvin or nearer to absolute zero. So the main principle involved is that when an already magnetized paramagnetic substance is suddenly demagnetized in an adiabatic manner, then there will be a fall in temperature. Okay, already magnetized paramagnetic substance is suddenly demagnetized in an adiabatic manner. First of all, we magnetize a paramagnetic substance. Next, it is demagnetized in a adiabatic manner, that is at constant temperature. There is no change in temperature. We demagnetize the paramagnetic substance. Then what happened? There will be a fall in temperature because the energy required for getting demagnetization is drawn from within the substance itself. So the paramagnetic substance which is demagnetized is requires some energy because the molecules inside the paramagnetic substance are want to demagnetize, so they want some energy. So this energy is drawn from the same substance. So the energy is decrease, that means the temperature also decreases. If originally the substance is already at a sufficient low temperatures, then the fall in temperature will be quite appreciable. So the apparatus is as shown in figure. A paramagnetic substance like gadolinium sulfate or cerium fluoride or chromium potassium alum or iron ammonium alum or cerium ethyl sulfate is taken. It is either a single crystal, a pressed powder, or a mixture of small crystals in the form of either a sphere, a cylinder, or spheroid. So the paramagnetic substance is taken in the form of a single crystal or a pressed powder or a mixture of small crystals in the form of either a sphere, a cylinder, or a spheroid. It is placed in a vessel A by suspension S. The paramagnetic substance is placed in a vessel A, represented by the vessel A in the figure, by suspension S. The vessel may be connected to a vacuum pump or to a helium gas supply. This vessel A may be connected at one time to a vacuum pump or at another time to a helium gas supply. The vessel A is surrounded by a liquid helium whose pressure and therefore temperature can be controlled. The vessel A is surrounded by a liquid helium. This liquid helium is pressure and therefore temperature can be controlled. So the Dewar flask B containing this liquid helium is in turn surrounded by the liquid hydrogen contained in another Dewar flask designated by C in the figure. Okay, in the Dewar flask C, which is around the Dewar flask B containing liquid helium. A strong magnetic field is applied to magnetize the paramagnetic salt. To magnetize the paramagnetic salt, there is a strong magnetic field is as shown in figure, north pole and south pole. The coils M around the vessel A help us to measure the susceptibility of the paramagnetic substance and thereby calculate the temperature. As shown in figure, coils M around the vessel A help us to measure the susceptibility of the paramagnetic substance. These coils are measuring the susceptibility of the paramagnetic substance. So these susceptibility are using for calculate the temperature of the paramagnetic substance. The temperature of liquid helium is adjusted to be around 1 Kelvin. The temperature of liquid helium is adjusted to be around 1 Kelvin. Okay. So initially the vessel A is filled with helium gas. Initially the vessel A is filled with helium gas. The paramagnetic substance now comes into thermal contact with liquid helium. paramagnetic substance comes into thermal contact with liquid helium, which is at the temperature about 1 Kelvin. So there is a heat transmission between paramagnetic substance and liquid helium. Liquid helium is a thermal conductor which is at low temperatures. The temperature of the paramagnetic substance P will be come down to the temperature of liquid helium surrounded A, that is 1 Kelvin. Now the strong magnetic field is switched on. The strong magnetic field is switched on. So we apply the strong magnetic field to the paramagnetic substance. So the rise of temperature produced by switching on the magnetic field causes a flow of heat. Flow of heat from P to the liquid helium through the helium gas introduced into air. So when we applying the strong magnetic field, the paramagnetic substance is magnetized. Then the temperature of the paramagnetic substance increases. That increasing temperature must be decreasing in the way of heat transferring from the paramagnetic substance to liquid helium through the helium gas. Thus the helium gas is used for conduction of heat so as to enable the paramagnetic salt to come to the temperature equilibrium in a very short time. In a very short time, the paramagnetic substance cool down up to 1 Kelvin due to the heat transfer from paramagnetic substance to helium liquid through the heat transfer helium gas. This is the reason why the helium gas in a is called exchange gas. Helium gas is also called exchange gas. This is exchange the heat energy. Thus, even after getting magnetized, the paramagnetic salt P remains at 1 Kelvin. Then the helium gas in A is pumped out so that P is now thermally isolated and insulted. So, when the paramagnetic substance get the temperature at 1 Kelvin, then the helium gas in A is pumped out. So there is no thermal contact between helium liquid and paramagnetic substance. So paramagnetic substance is thermally isolated. Now the magnetic field is suddenly switched off. We applied the strong magnetic field which is now switched off. There is no magnetic field. So there is a demagnetization. Due to the adiabatic demagnetization of the paramagnetic substance P, its temperature falls down. So here there is heat transmission. So temperature is at constant. That is adiabatic process. Due to adiabatic demagnetization of the paramagnetic substance P, its temperature falls down because to demagnetize some energy required for paramagnetic substance, this energy drawn from same paramagnetic substance. So the temperatures before and after the demagnetization can be indirectly measured by means of the susceptibility measuring coils M. There are measuring coils around the paramagnetic substance. These measuring coils are measure the susceptibility of the paramagnetic substance. The adiabatic demagnetization was achieved by removing very rapidly the apparatus from the pole places N and S away. So the pole places N and S are removing away. Then the adiabatic demagnetization was achieved. Sometimes a huge electromagnetic magnets was used to produce the magnetization. In modern times, to produce magnetizing field, a current of 10 to 100 ampere is being sent through the solenoids made up of many thousands of tons of fine superconducting wire. Okay, the advantages of such a superconducting magnets are: first one, no power dissipation in the coils, and the second advantage, the magnetic field can be made much stronger, and the third advantage is the cost of the magnet is considerably reduced, and fourth advantage is the power requirement is almost nil. Okay, So estimation of the final temperature of the parametric substance. Curie's law states that the parametric susceptibility J is inversely proportional to the absolute temperature T. This is Curie's law. The parametric susceptibility J is inversely proportional to the absolute temperature T. So J is inversely proportional to 1 by T, as J equal to C by T, where C is the Curie's constant. This susceptibility is measured by means of the coils M and a special bridge circuit. The susceptibility is measured by means of the coils M and a special bridge circuit. The temperature measured using the above Curie equation, J equal to C by T. This is called the magnetic temperature T. Magnetic temperature. If Ji is the susceptibility at Ti and Jf is the susceptibility at Tf, then Tf Ji by Jf equal to Tf by Ti. So from this we got Tf equal to Ji by Jf into Ti. In the region where Curie's law holds good, T star equal to T, the Kelvin square temperature T star. However, very near to absolute zero, there will be some difference between T star and T. So near absolute zero, Tf by Ti equal to root over 1 by 1 plus C by H of Hi square. Here C is Curie constant and Hi is magnetic field strength and A constant. From this equation, the final temperature after adiabatic demagnetization Tf can be calculated. This equation shows that Tf will be reduced as C is increased and A is reduced and Hi is made large. Using adiabatic demagnetization method, the lowest temperature reached so far up to 0.0014 Kelvin. This was achieved by Clerk, Steenland and Gorter using crystals of chromium, aluminum, alum.